And counseling, that's something that the kids do need.
They all need it, I agree with
you. Oh, they all do.
I'm never going to be a grandma to his kids.
Yeah, that's true.
Never.
It's Aariaa. Welcome to TLC Next Reveal. I hope you had a great weekend. I felt compelled to share a choice I made after viewing Season 19, Episode 25. For the first time since I've been following this show and doing recaps, I will not be featuring any clips of the episode. It just didn't sit well with me. While lovely as the goodbye was, it also seemed so very personal and intimate. TLC broadcast the graveside ceremony, including when they planted his urn, and it was extremely emotional and hard to view. Out of respect, I don't want to post or share that video any further, but I do want to mention a couple of things from the episode, namely the sections prior to and subsequent to the cemetery scene. At the beginning of the episode, it was evident that Janelle and Christine were with some of their children, though all were not there. Mykelti and Tony were not there at all, which could be because they had moved to North Carolina somewhere around that period. Logan made a cameo but did not talk. Hunter was present but appeared nowhere in the fishing scenes, nor did the same apply to Logan. Gabriel was there, and all of Christine's children, except for Mykelti, seemed to have been present. Leon and Audrey were present too. So, excluding Mykelti and, naturally, Garrison, it seemed that all the siblings were present. Mary was there also, but she wasn't living with Janelle and Christine, and she didn't appear in any scenes with Leon. It doesn't seem like it was because of personal dynamic or something, but it might have been a filming decision. Leon, on the other hand, spent filming time with their siblings, and it was quite touching to see Leon with Audrey. They both seemed so heartbroken. It was extremely obvious during this episode that the death of Garrison did not cause any sort of reconciliation with Kody. Most obviously, when the adult children were all together with Christine and Janelle, even at the cemetery, there was not a single interaction between the two halves of the family. When they were physically in the same room together, Kody and Robyn and her children, excluding Dayton, stood on one side and the rest of them were on the other. It felt like a physical and emotional chasm, Kody and Robyn against everyone else. There had been no talk, no communication, no attempt at reconciliation. The space between them was stark, and it was clear that there had been no reconciliation at all. Janelle did comment that the loss of Garrison had reminded the siblings, the children she has with Christine and Mary, of the value of family. She explained that, as a result of this tragedy, some of the siblings have striven to patch things up, clear up past conflict, reconnect, and be more available to each other. They've been staying in touch with one another more frequently and having deeper, more substantial conversations. It's consolidated their bond, healed them to some extent, and reminded them of what is really important. But still, there was an observable distance among Robyn's children and the rest of the siblings. No talk, no outward sign of bonding. It was as if they were in completely different worlds. The rift is still very much present. That being said, I believe this episode was approached more sensitively than others. It made room for Janelle and Christine and their children, those who were closest to Garrison and most impacted by his death. They were allowed time to grieve, say some of their memories, and reveal how they're handling it. It was emotional, yes, and at times felt invasive and a bit exploitative, but it was also meaningful to see Janelle and Christine supporting one another through it. One thing I didn't anticipate was that this episode shifted my perception of David, Christine's husband. I questioned and doubted him initially, curious about his past and his motives. But observing him in this scenario, it's evident he's a very stable guy. The kids just adore him, and it's evident that he's there for the right reasons. He's like a rock for Christine. He appears to be like a rock for her kids. He and Truly clearly have a fantastic relationship, and he simply just meshes in like so perfectly with those in the family. It's as if he was destined to be there. So I'm merely happy that Christine has such an understanding SP partner in this. So I believe that aspect of this has been perhaps the most, it shouldn't surprise me, but this has been the most, I'm just thankful. Christine once again has a good partner. I'm happy that she's found the love that she desires. I'm happy that when she's going through something like this, she has people that she can count on. And then with Janelle, it was super obvious that her boys are just kinda rallying around her and surrounding her and being there for her and like just trying to take care of her. Even though they're grieving too, it's just obvious that her boys are leaning into her and taking care of her. They talked at totally different times. They were quite split down the middle. And I also noticed that when Kody was talking about Garrison, some of the siblings weren't even looking at him. They were sort of looking down nearly, just not even paying attention to what he said. It basically felt like they sort of looked at it like it was super performative. So there was that. I would have preferred not to have seen him be buried. Honestly, I feel like I didn't need to see that. But something at the end kind of piqued my curiosity. And it's something that I've been told by other people that know them. It's that Madison sitting down with Leon and, she said like, I feel sad for Kody, but I truly feel bad for Kody's children. She didn't even say Robyn's name. It was really evident that like a lot of the problems with Kody clearly do have to do with how he treated them. They have the majority of their problems are with Kody, but then they'll mention Kody's name, but they won't mention Robyn's name. So they don't refer to them as their siblings, you know? So Maddie was like, if I could talk to Robyn's children, I would tell them that I'm sorry if I ever hurt you. I'm sorry if I ever made you feel terrible. I didn't feel like I didn't mean to ever make you feel this way. And Leon said something and said, I just want to be able to talk to them. And I thought, gosh, that is so weird, right? What have Kody and Robyn things done to those kids to get them poisoned so much against all of the other children in this family? Why are the two groups of siblings so against each other? I get it, there's this whole the haves and the have-nots. Those that are like Kody and Robyn who feel superior to everyone, and Janelle and Christine and Mary and their children on the other side of spectrum. And that was all also very obvious, just in how Robyn and Kody came to the graveside, where they all were like done up and looking very dapper. And then a lot on the side, where Janelle and Christine and the kids, where they were there more casually, honoring the casualness of Garrison. So it also felt like that sort of juxtaposition, like they're done up very like they're attending church and the other side was more relaxed. That was just another thing I had noticed. But what if they told them that it's so unlikely for them even to have a conversation, that they can't even contact them to have a conversation because it's being told and dictated through Robyn and Kody? These are adults that they clearly could have a conversation with. And I realize that if your siblings have you blocked, and if your siblings don't wish to speak with you, that's okay. You absolutely should respect boundaries. But here, I think all of the sibling problems are due to what Kody and Robyn have said and done to poison them against those children. And I partly think a great deal of that is because they do not wish the children to all speak and have a chance to heal fences and see the reality about who was the one that was putting things into our minds about them, because it was actually Robyn that is constantly bringing the message and the assumption of what she believes people think about her, and she's the one that felt traumatized and rejected right next to the other OG3 kids. And she put that on her kids. They don't like me, so they don't get to have a relationship with them, right? And clearly, the OG3 children struggled to adjust and did it all on television, which was a terrible concept when they blended the families, and Kody then just ran off and flew off into the distance with Robyn and the children. I mean, that's essentially what he did. There's years and years and years of anger and in frustration, but the reality is that even at the funeral, they couldn't talk. Even at the funeral, they did not speak. Even at the funeral, Kody did not speak with any of his children who were not Robyn's children that were. He only spoke with Robyn's children. He did not speak with any of his other children. So when I think of it in that way, it's like you do not even speak with your other children, the siblings, the direct siblings that are related to Garrison. But then you're there creating this entire fuss about Garrison when you don't even have a relationship with his brothers and sisters. I felt this is so weird. If you're a parent, how do you not go over the other side and be like, I'm sorry, I effed up? How do you not try to make everything right? How do you not admit that you were wrong? How do you not see that you could have done things differently? How do you still, in death, find a way to restore things? Right? And thus, when they talk about Michaelia said that they behaved in manners in this process that made her pull away from them, I believe this is what they're saying. It's like they do not care about the other children. This is being produced for television. And when they get a chance to face the kids in person, there's no conversation. And I know a lot of the kids don't want anything to do with him, and that I get it, but not even a try. It was just crazy. I did see that Logan went to go talk to Robyn and the kids, Brianna, Aariaa, and hugged them at the graveyard and the graveside service. That was really the only one I saw that interacted, that crossed over, but that's Logan. Logan is the peacemaker in this family. So, in the course of the service, Tim, who is Kody's sister's husband and ranch owner, gave something that was tantamount to a eulogy, but more a sermon, I suppose. And he addressed directly the sorrow of a mother and coping with the loss of a child and the need to learn about relationships and how to compartmentalize things from one another to repair fences. I thought his message was pertinent and given with compassion. Considering what's transpired in this family, I could not understand why he set up Kody, and he told us no one will realize the remorse of a father or the remorse of a father in relation to the death of Garrison. And I do not know if Kody requested that he include that statement. I do not know if that was stated since Tim wishes the rest of the children to observe that Kody is remorseful about what transpired and has a sense responsibility for what he's done and how he built all of this division and what he said about Garrison very publicly. But I think something else could have been said at the service. That was my one part where I just didn't need to hear that. I didn't need to hear about Kody being remorseful, because none of his behavior with his other children indicated that he had remorse. That was how I saw it. Overwhelmingly, TLC did a better work with this episode. And Robyn was really non-existent in the episode, and she didn't act like she had feelings about Garrison. It was really Kody brought his boy home, not we put our son to rest, which if you're going to be a stepmom, Robyn, you should begin treating Kody's kids as your kids too. But what do I know? So tell me, what do you think about this episode? Were you touched? Were you uneasy? And what do you think about this continued split in the family? Tell me in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed. And hit the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching.